The roar of a fighter jet. It's the sound of power, speed, and danger. At an air show, it's pure adrenaline. But sometimes things go wrong. Very wrong. No CGI, no stunt doubles, just real aircraft, real pilots, and moments where human instinct and raw engineering clash in the sky. 5 jets, 5 near-fatal decisions. And in every case, a pilot has just seconds, maybe less, to cheat death or ride it all the way down. One ejects barely above the ground. Another survives 75 Gs after slamming into the runway. One jet crashes on a crowded highway. Another comes down wheels up, on fire, and sideways. This isn't a highlight reel. This is what happens when the sky fights back. So buckle up, because we're diving straight into 5 of the most intense jet crashes ever caught on camera, and what really happened inside that cockpit.
July 23rd, 2010. A CF18 Hornet roars low over the runway at Lethbridge, Alberta. It's a rehearsal for the upcoming air show, and Captain Brian Booz is flying Canada's official demonstration jet. He's pulling into a high angle of attack pass, aggressive, dramatic, and just 300 feet off the ground. Then, everything goes wrong. The right engine fails mid-maneuver. The aircraft immediately loses lift. At this altitude, there's no room to recover. No room to think twice. Captain Booz reacts instantly. He pulls the ejection handle. In less than 2 seconds, the Martin Baker NACS seat fires, blasting him out of the falling jet. He clears the canopy. The aircraft crashes nose first into the ground and explodes in a fireball just behind him. Booz hits the ground hard under parachute, injured but alive, spinal fractures but no fatal wounds. Later investigation finds the cause: a seized piston in the engine's variable exhaust nozzle system, a tiny mechanical failure, nearly fatal at 300 feet. The jet was destroyed, but the training, the ejection seat, and the pilot's reflexes work together in perfect timing. It's the kind of moment no pilot ever wants, but every pilot prepares for. And in this case, it made all the difference.
August 22nd, 2015. Shoreham Air Show, West Sussex. A vintage Hawker Hunter T7 climbs into a loop in front of thousands of spectators. At the controls, experienced display pilot Andy Hill. But something's off. The jet starts the loop too low and too slow. Instead of peaking at 3,500 feet, it crests at just under 2,700. There's no room to recover, no time to pull up. The aircraft drops fast, nose down, smashing into the busy A27 highway just outside the airfield perimeter. It tears through vehicles and erupts in a massive fireball. 11 people on the ground are killed, dozens more are injured. Andy Hill survives. He ejects moments before impact, but suffers serious injuries. Investigators rule the crash was caused by pilot error. He misjudged altitude. He didn't abort when he should have. In 2022, a coroner rules that the victims were unlawfully killed. The crash becomes the deadliest airshow accident in modern British history. Civilian Hawker Hunters are grounded. Airshow rules in the UK change forever. A maneuver that had thrilled crowds for decades was now a cautionary tale. June 10th, 2015, Kecskemét Air Base, Hungary. A Hungarian JAS-39C Grippin fighter prepares for landing. But something's wrong. The pilot, Major Sándor Kadar, reports a malfunction with the nose landing gear. He attempts a belly landing. Gear up, no nose support, hoping for a smooth skid. The jet touches down and slides, but then it veers off course. Control is lost. Kadar has only seconds. He
He pulls the ejection handle while the jet is already scraping along the runway. The seat fires. He launches upward, just in time. But the ejection isn't clean. The seat doesn't fully separate. The parachute opens late. He hits the ground hard. Multiple spinal fractures. But he's alive. Emergency crews rush in. He's evacuated and recovers in the months that follow. Investigators confirm the cause. A jammed nose gear. Nothing he could have done to fix it midair. The Grippin is later repaired and returned to service, and Major Kadar is awarded a National Medal for bravery. In combat or in training, it only takes one system failure to turn a routine flight into a fight for survival. September 14, 2003, Mountain Home Air Force Base, Idaho. Thunderbird 6 is cleared for takeoff. At the controls, Captain Chris Strickland. His maneuver, a split S. The plan is simple. Climb, roll inverted, and dive back toward the runway. He starts the roll at what he believes is 2,500 feet above ground. But he's wrong. Mountain Home sits 1,000 feet higher than the team's home base at Nellis. Strickland is actually at just 1,670 feet above ground. He begins the dive, but quickly realizes there's no room to pull out. He banks left, away from the crowd, and pulls hard on the stick, bleeding as much speed as he can. At just 140 feet above ground, with less than a second to spare, he ejects. The jet smashes into the runway and explodes. Strickland lands safely. Minor injuries. No one else is hurt. The cause? Pilot error. Misjudged altitude from using the wrong reference. Sea level instead of ground level. After the crash, Thunderbird procedures are rewritten. All heights are now calculated strictly from mean sea level, and the split S maneuver gets a full 1,000-foot buffer. Strickland didn't just survive. He owned his mistake and used it to make the skies safer for every pilot who came after. April 24th, 1988. IMCAS El Toro, California. A huge crowd has gathered for the Navy Relief Air Show. In the spotlight, Colonel Jerry Caddick in his FA-18 Hornet. He's about to perform a high-energy loop, dubbed the Square Immelman. Caddick pulls up fast. At the loop's apex, the aircraft loses lift. The tail clips the runway. Almost instantly, the Hornet flips nose first into the ground at roughly 300 miles per hour. This wasn't a controlled crash. It was a violent slap against the earth. Caddick does one thing right. He ejects. In an instant, the seat rockets him away. The jet disintegrates in a burst of sparks and debris. The forces are brutal. Caddick endures around 75 Gs, enough to shatter bones, collapse lungs, tear flesh. He's seriously injured. Cervical fractures, broken ribs, damaged lungs. But he survives. 6 months of recovery later, he's earning his private pilot's license. No fatalities. The crowd is stunned, but safe. The takeaway? There are limits to stunts and speed. One split-second miscalculation, too fast, too low, can turn thrill into destruction. Caddick walked away, but the lessons of El Toro echo on every flight deck, every airshow briefing, every pre-flight check. 5 crashes, 5 ejections, and one thing in common: the moment where instinct takes over and survival depends on milliseconds. These weren't movie scenes. No CGI, no second takes. Just pilots in real cockpits, flying real missions, facing real danger. Some walked away, some barely did, but every one of them left behind a lesson about training, technology, decision-making, and respect for the sky. If you fly, serve, or simply watch in awe, remember what these moments cost.
And if you want more stories like this, raw, real, and untold, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started.